So, before we get around to talking about the day's training schedule for the marathon training, there's just something that I briefly want to discuss. Hi, my name is Bondo. I'm currently training for the Copenhagen Marathon. I'm running every day until race day, and I'm trying to balance that while not breaking my body. I wanted to talk about small talk, first of all. I think it gets a bad rep, and I think people are hating far too much on it. I was reading a thread on Threads that asked the simple question: any tips for small talk? And the tirade of people hating on small talk was baffling to me, because for me, it is the foundation of a good conversation. Small talk is all about flow, and I think most people look down on it because it's actually quite hard. It's way easier to get stuck in a very, very deep conversation where you can actually think about your answers and take your time. And because of the rapidness of small talk, I think people sometimes mistake superficial conversations for superficial people. Okay, serious talk for people who want to get better at small talk. And I'm saying this as someone who views himself as quite good at small talk. Maybe I haven't quite mastered this yet, the whole vlogging and talking to the camera thing, but in social circles, I consider myself quite the apt small talker. I think you have to look at it like this. Small talk is all about directing the flow of the conversation. It's a little bit like intersocial jazz. It's conversational dancing, and it can be empathetic chess if you use small talk in the right ways. You'll be able to conduct conversations and control them if you're good enough and aware of the people around you. That being said, you should never misuse any power that you have over a conversation. I think the biggest faux pas that people do, sometimes they engage with a conversation by embarrassing or talking down to people, or try and be a smartass. And I think that's the biggest faux pas you can do in terms of small talk. I think if there's one rule to small talk, it's that you should always be an asset and never a detriment to a conversation. The whole thing about coming to the defense of small talk is that I think, let's take for instance diet. You always say, and everybody knows, that you should get a balanced diet. And I think the same rule applies for conversations. Conversations that are deeply, deeply rooted in very, very emotional, heavy, deep topics is very emotionally draining. And I think it's not. And I think you should consider when and where you want to engage with those topics. My perspective on it is that all the bigger topics, the heavier topics, the very emotional topics are small islands, and the small talk is basically bridging those small islands. You'll never be able to engage with an emotional and a deep topic unless people feel comfortable with you. And I think a gateway to that is considering small talk as conversational dating. Do I feel comfortable with this person? Do they actually have my interest in mind? And do they listen to what I say? If you strictly want to see small talk as something inherently superficial, I think the social circle and the people around you will get somewhat tired of the energy drain that puts on a conversation. You cannot always engage with a super fibrous conversation like heavy meal. Sometimes you need a bit of brevity, and you need a designated candidate, so to speak. I don't want to get too deep into the topic of small talk. I just wanted to say, on behalf of people who engage with small talk and actually enjoy it, the brevity, the lightness, the laughter, the feeling a little bit lighter, try not to look down on those people and try and just engage with it. Try and engage with it maybe on your own terms. I'm not saying you should change your personality or anything, or that small talk is the only way to drive a conversation, but I think it is fuel, and I think it is an easy way to get to know people. And the people that I've seen and met who are the most lonely and feel the most ostracized is usually people that are not good in engaging with small talk. It is a tool like anything else, and it should be in your tool bag, That's just my 2 cents on Smalltalk. I don't know if anybody can use this for anything. If you have any ideas or criticisms about my way of viewing this topic, please write it down below. But next up, after this little drink, is today's run and trading. Oh yeah, and also today we're getting a new filter for this camera because, as you can tell here, there's a small problem with the cross polarization. It creates this like cross in the middle. I don't usually use that heavy of an ND filter, but I know summer is on the way, so I'm thinking before it'll create a problem, I'd rather just buy a new one. Oh, they're cliffs. It's a pretty big mug. Today is unfortunately also a bit of a sad day because I have a friend who's going home that I like very much. So let's do a little parting gift. Why won't you focus? There we go. Let's do a little parting gift of this chicken medallion. Come, Calvin. Get, come on, come on. Woo. Easy. Come. Works. Needs to take his treasure down to the floor. Let's go. Okay, so Calvin's father is a little bit late. He apparently had to pick up his kids. So we're going to keep Calvin around until 7:30 tonight, which is nice. It's always a nice surprise to have the little brat around for some extra hours. But let's talk about today's training pass. Today's training pass is a little bit of a tougher one. It's a tempo Tuesday. So it's 2K warm-up, 6K tempo, and then 2K cool down. I'm probably going to keep the warm-up somewhere around pace 6:05, and then tempo is going to be somewhere around 4:45 or just plain 5. I haven't really found a good way to shoot my runs yet. I usually just use my phone, but I think that's a little bit annoying also to, first of all, remember, but also in the post-production. But I'll make sure to get a little bit of footage on the way. But I think the way more important thing is actually evaluating and talking and thinking about how the run felt. Because last week was a bit of a heavy week for me. I ended a 36K week with a 14K Sunday. So the total was 50K. And it's the first time in a long while that I've run that many kilometers in a single week. So I'm itching actually to find out how my body will take it today on the Tempo Tuesday. So yeah, Let's go. Whoa. Okay, so it was a little harder than I expected. It was way more windy in Copenhagen. It has really been for the past 4 or 5 days, blowing a storm, especially around the lakes where I usually go for the interval and tempo runs because it's a long straight and because it's a very wide pavement, so there's a lot of space to get a good run in. We ended up doing 2K warm up and then 6K at 4:55 and then 2K cool down home. But before it gets too late, right now it's 4:42. I need to get dressed and go pick up some new filters here for this camera. And see you for an outfit in 3, 2, 1. Maybe I don't actually quite like the white. I think it's popping a little bit too much for this. Like, I've seen gray. These used to be gray. I don't know if they come off as gray anymore. Gray pants, the white t-shirt. I think that might be popping a bit too much. Then this Japanese-inspired overcoat, and then a workwear jacket from somewhere on Vincent, I think. Jewelry, you saw it. These are from Maria Black, and then a hat from Vincent. Oh, yeah. We're gonna bring this as well, and off to pick up some ND filters. That's for the stairs. They're killing me right now. My legs are broken. Helge! Goddag! Så er den tilbage.
Så er den tilbage. Lad os prøve at kigge på hovedet og se, om ikke bare det er røgfedt, det der, eller det
Jeg håber, den går og spiller den her gang. Fortunately, that turned out to be a bit of a bust. The vignetting here that I wanted to get a little bit rid of, it's a little bit intense on the other ND filter I got. Apparently, even with a step-up ring and a wide ND filter, is even more intense. So I think we're gonna stick with this for now. And if we run into problems and issues with overexposure, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. And it has to be said, easy, shop. They were very sweet. They didn't charge me anything. They let me try out the gear free of charge. Even actually ordered it home for me because they didn't have it, but as soon as it turned out it wasn't what we were hoping for, they just let me go. So, pays to be nice, I guess. Pays to ask, and don't be afraid to ask the experts, I guess. But as you can tell, this is the problem we're gonna run into come summer. Right now, we're actually at 8. So everything is in focus, and I would much rather want to be here. But that'll be overexposed. What to do? If you got any good ideas, just leave them in the comment section. I'm just editing yesterday's recordings, and I wanted to, try and organize them and make them ready for the next batch of content that I shot today. I think I'm just gonna keep that as a separate video, but I do apologize if the sound from yesterday and earlier today wasn't great. Apparently, I've clicked a function on my little Sony shotgun microphone that put it into manual mode instead of automatic. And so far, automatic has been great. It isn't so great when you put it into manual. Let me just tell you that. So we have a bit of clipping, we have a bit of noise, but I hope you can live with it. I tried to get rid of most of it. Being a podcast producer, it couldn't be more embarrassing that my sound is bad. But you live and you learn. Cool. See you tomorrow.